Welcome back, Golf Badgers, with another solo Golf Badger podcast here, and this is a first. I think we're having a marriage guidance counselling session this morning in the office with two of my very dear friends, Lee Strutt and Sami Strutt. Say hello, folks.
Good morning and hello, and welcome to new 2024.
Oh, that's good. That's a first. We've never actually, I don't think, in fact, the last podcast we've done is the first of 2024, and I didn't wish anyone Happy New Year. So,
well, that's a bit rude.
No, I don't think anyone's wished me at all this year, hardly. So
Happy New Year, Bledge.
Thank you. So Happy New Year to everyone that listens, and hopefully we'll get lots of these underway. But this is quite a cool thing to do. And it was actually, so the Strutts were round at the Bledges last night for dinner. Sami drank 4 bottles of red wine.
Obviously.
And we were going to podcast separately with the Strutts this morning, but Sami had a fantastic idea to talk together, because it's probably something it's nice to talk about, is the fact that your relationship and how you've been the posh and becks of greenkeeping.
I wish.
And well, Sami actually did say earlier, we're glad this isn't getting filmed.
Yeah, nobody needs to see me this morning, that's for sure.
I was going to say, well, you're both posh and Beck, so I'm not sure. I must be the
So we've, this could be interesting. We're going to talk about both your careers, especially with Sami's new direction change. Still in the same kind of area, but a change nevertheless. And Strutty, obviously, what you've been up to recently. You had a really cool visit somewhere nice that we'll talk about. But then we'll finish up talking about your relationship together and how it's worked in greenkeeping. Because I guess there's a lot of long-suffering wives out there, isn't there? And husbands.
Yes, definitely.
My wife included, probably. So
yeah, we ought to have her in the room as well, really.
Yeah, let's not. Let's lock the door.
Different counselling session.
Yeah. So let's start with you, Sami. From my kind of behalf, probably one of the most prevalent people in our industry. I think someone that's always been there ever since I've been a wee boy. Remembered you at Harrogate. Back then you were Sammy Collins.
I was. And
Sami, I will let you introduce yourself in a second, but I'm just going to... Sami was always the kind of the person, the go-to person for education, very consistent figure in our industry. And this year, before Christmas, announced the news that you were leaving BIGGA to take a new venture. So maybe we could quickly go through your career, what age you started BIGGA and what you did all the way through it, and then talk about your new direction and what that holds in store for all our listeners.
Yeah, so hello everybody. I joined BIGGA in April 1993, and I just turned 24, and I was basically the office junior. I answered the phone. We didn't have email. We were on fax machines. It was very, very old school. And I was there to just be general office administrator. And when Ken Richardson joined a year later as the education and training officer, I went to work with him. I was assigned to work with him. And that's really where I started working in the education side. And Ken and I worked together for 13 years, and over those 13 years we implemented a lot of the programs that you see now, and the things like refund of fees and scholarships, that type of thing, really came into play there. And of course, Continue to Learn, which had been through a couple of incarnations. It was.
That's been your absolute baby, hasn't it? Continue to Learn.
Yeah.
Which for anyone listening, Continue to Learn is BTME Harrogate, the education section part.
That's it. And that's been through a couple of iterations. It used to be known as the Learning Experience back in the day, and then it became Continue to Learn. And that's just grown and grown, really. And yeah, that's my baby.
So everyone will know Sami from the person that used to stand outside the halls shouting people to get into class, which is always my kind of biggest memory of Harrogate. Really.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I have a very loud voice, which came in handy. It just kind of became something much bigger than it had ever been. And every year I would try and do something a bit different and try and be creative with it. And thankfully the powers that were and are at BIGGA have gone along with the majority of my suggestions, and the majority of them have been successful.
Yeah, I mean, well, speaking from
a
customer's point of view, like, we've all absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
There's never really been any negatives. Any feedback's always been taken on. There's been some new courses turn up every year that you've been instrumental in, the scouting that you've done across the States to bring all these fantastic American speakers across. I mean, every year we meet someone new that you've brought across, and it's like, Jesus, you guys are brilliant. It adds a load of new diversity to Harrogate. So I think everyone's very grateful for all the work you've done over that in the years, and I was quite shocked actually when we found out that you were moving on. Yeah, well, I mean, it was quite a shock to me as well. A random conversation, and here I am after nearly 31 years moving on. But I think the job with the Bernhard Academy, what some people may know, some people don't know, is that Steve Nixon from Bernhard's and I have known each other for a very long time. Steve was a Toro Student of the Year winner back in the day, and we've known each other really since we were in our 20s. And our career paths have just kind of, meandered, crossing quite a lot across the years. And amazingly, I got a phone call out of the blue. Lee and I were actually in the truck driving up to Scotland when my phone rang, and it was Steve Nixon, and he said, we're going to be opening an academy, and we'd like you to open it. Right. And when something you kind of hear something and it doesn't really go into your brain, and he's like, so would you like to do that? We'd be really privileged if you would do that, because we want somebody that's really given a lot to education for the industry. And I was like, well, that'd be great. And I put down the phone and I told Lee, and I was kind of, wow, that's what an honour. Yeah, absolutely. I seen the plaque in the grinding room where it says it, and I didn't even know about that until when I seen it there a few months ago, and I was like, Jesus, that's pretty awesome to be asked. That just shows you what everyone thinks of you. And I mean, it was incredible, because I never thought that, I think the thing is that you don't realise that the work that you do has such an impact on so many people. And that's been the most amazing thing since the announcement came out, is the amount of people that have reached out to me and said, we're really sorry to be losing you, but we really see that you're the right person for this role. And I just want to thank you for all the help that you've given me during my career. I wouldn't be where I was in my career if it hadn't been for you. And it's like, you don't think that you do that for anybody. You don't realize the impact that one conversation can have had on somebody's entire outlook on how they are going to move their career forward. Well, look at how many branches that you're involved with. That's the thing. So I mean, myself, I've been very lucky to be in the receiving end of all that education through putting in for stuff like Bernard's delegation, FTMI, which you're instrumental in that as well. You helped get that started. I think we're just glad that you're not leaving the industry and you're still doing it. No, well, I think it would have been, I don't think there's a job out there outside of this industry that I ever would have left BIGGA for, and because you must know every greenkeeper in Britain. No, that does education. Well, you get to know a lot of them. You get to know a lot of people. But I think when this opportunity came along, and I started thinking about it, because at first it's kind of like, I don't really know if this is something that I'm interested in. And then I was trying to get over the fact of being flattered by it, because it's like, I don't want to move from a job that and a life that I've lived in for the last 30 years into something because I'm flattered that somebody's asked me to go and do something. And that was the first conversation with Steve Nixon, was like, I'm just trying to put that aside and focus on what it is that this job actually is, and what it will do, and what it will bring for me, and for
the industry, what I can bring to it that's going to make the world a better place for greenkeepers, which is what BIGGA's trying to do. You know, it's the same. We're all trying to achieve the same thing. And the more I thought about it and the more I discussed it, and obviously Lee and I talked about it a lot. I talked about it with my parents, with my family, and it was actually my oldest brother that turned around and he said, "You've worked your entire career for this opportunity. This is it. You've now got to go. This is it."
Yeah.
And I sat with that for a couple of weeks and I thought, yeah, he's right. He's right. And when I was asked to open the academy, I can remember thinking, because it was 2019, so it wasn't too long before we went into lockdown. And I can remember thinking, I'd really quite like this. And I remembered that during this this stage of trying to make the decision. And I thought, actually, I wanted to be asked to do this job when the academy first opened.
Oh, wow. Yeah. There you go.
And now I have been. So now I've got to take that and I've got to run with
100%. And I think the great thing is it's not something that's going to be competing with any of the work that you've done in the past with BIGGA or continue to learn. It's something that's going to run alongside it. And for that reason, everyone's probably chuffed to bits about it.
Yeah. And, you know, I really believe that everything, you know, all the work that we've done at BIGGA and that BIGGA are going to continue to do, that the relationship between BIGGA and Bernhard's is so strong anyway, that it will marry together and we'll be able to work together to keep on improving and enhancing the recognition of greenkeepers and sports turf professionals, which is really what we've been working to do for all of these years, you know, and we're going to keep on driving to do that. And as an industry, that's what we're trying to do, an industry as a whole, whether it's BIGGA or Bernhard's or any of the other you know, companies within the industry. We're all trying to get that recognition that, you know, golf doesn't happen without greenkeepers, and, you know, football doesn't happen without the grounds people doing
so the Bernhard Academy is open for everyone, you know.
Open for everybody, yeah. Sports turf professionals.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's just the foundations that Craig Haldane has now put in place is where we start.
And your head must be absolutely buzzing with ideas. But
oh my God,
I guess it's probably, I mean, worthwhile getting you back on another podcast when you're fully feet under the desk and up and running with some actual things in place that we can discuss.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, at the moment, I'm still got
you still got your BIGGA head on.
Still got my BIGGA head on. You know, we're a couple of weeks out from Harrogate, and so we're very much in that place, which is all consuming. And you'll
be looking forward to Harrogate this time. Is it going to be weird?
I am. It's going to be weird. My last one as I said in the interview that I did with BIGGA, is my last one in a BIGGA jumper.
Yeah.
So that's going to be strange.
I hope Jim Croxton's got a big packet of Kleenex.
Yeah, I know. So do I. Yeah, I think that, as I said, I think there's going to be lots of laughter, lots of memories.
Yeah.
Lots of cups of tea and maybe not tea.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, perhaps a few tears along the way.
Aye, yeah.
The BIGGA celebration. My parents have never, although they've supported me all the way through my my career, they've never actually seen me in the environment at work, and they're going to come to the BIGGA celebration on the Tuesday night.
That's amazing, because I know how much that meant to me to have my parents at the Open at the prize presentation. So to have yours,
I think yours is on a slightly bigger scale,
on
a world scale.
But it's a personal thing. It's the exact same meaning, and I think it'll be amazing. So for anyone that listening that wants to come along to that, it's on the Tuesday night. Tuesday,
BIGGA celebration, 4:30 for the drinks reception,
and you get free beer, don't you?
Free beer.
So if it's not just a incentive to come along to see your farewell.
Yeah,
I think you might couple of bottles of Peroni flying about.
my 2 minutes on stage. So, but yeah, it's. I think that'll be really nice to. My parents are in their late 80s now, and
it'll be amazing to see that. They'll
just
love
for
that.
them to see it and be part of it. And my brother's going to be there as well because he'll need to get mum and dad.
I'll try
in.
not. Yeah, It's you'll really enjoy it. We'll all will as well, and I think on behalf of all the greenkeepers that have kind of worked with you over the years, it's been amazing, and we're really very grateful for everything you've done for our industry. I mean that genuinely.
It's been a pure,
especially for myself
pleasure.
personally. You've done loads for me when it comes to that, so it's been great, and you'll do loads for more kids coming through with Bernhard Academy. I'm sure.
I hope so. That's the intention.
And Strutty, well, I was going to say, will you see less or more of Sami now? But that's the most silliest question ever, considering where you're living. So basically,
Nova Scotia, baby.
It couldn't be really further away.
I don't know. We've kind of talked about this, and I think that in how much Sam has supported me in my career and my chance to work overseas and take opportunities, this is exactly the same for Sam, of supporting her. And we've already spoken that actually to get together probably won't be in the UK. It will probably be, well, she's going to Oakmont. Okay, all right, well, I'll meet you in Pennsylvania. So I think part of it is really exciting. The logistics of making it all happen, I can imagine, is going to be really challenging. And I think it's going to be, right, which airport I'm going to meet you at. And it sounds exotic, but actually it's more about actually just trying to be together. And
so let's just dive straight into that instead of talking about Cabot just now. While we're on this point, which is probably the most interesting part, is your relationship and how that has worked with you. Essentially, I mean, you're the single most driven person I've ever met when it comes to your work. You've left many a job for probably less money but more opportunity as you've moved around. You love a challenge. I remember you saying to me once that your dream would be to work on a exotic golf course that gets torn apart by a typhoon every now and then so you could rebuild it, and I think you're a psychopath. But
apparently.
Yeah. But you were at the board before then, which was one of the most outrageous places I've ever been, and then the move to Cabot, which is Cabot top 100, 2 courses in the top 100 in the world.
Well, for Cabot Cape Breton, there's 2 courses in the top 100, and Point Hardy, Cabot St Lucia's in the top 100 now as well as actually Cabot Highlands, Castle Stewart.
Castle Stewart, yeah.
So
it's such a lucrative ownership, really, when it comes to buying up some of the top courses in the world. And I think just talk about some of the kind of sacrifices you've made in your personal life for doing that, especially with leaving Sami in a different country.
I think the first sacrifice is to Sam. Sam's the one that sacrifices and allows. I know she's just alongside me, but she's a phenomenal woman that's allowed me free rein to go and experience and follow this. There are times that she sort of reins me in because I kind of get a bit carried away, and I could be, I don't know, working on the other side of the world, and the logistics is just a bit too extreme. But she's not only supported this industry and greenkeepers to allow for them to see their potential and grow and gain these experiences and skills and education, she's also done that for me and allowed me to fuel my ambition and just keep chasing. But I think what Sam's been really good with in our relationship is, instead of turning around and saying, I want to do it all, it's like, actually, what part do you really want to do? As opposed to saying, right, I want all the cake. No, you actually want a slice of it. And what does that slice look like? So she's been able to support me and focus, well, don't do that, because actually that bit you're just pleasing other people. Actually, if you do that bit, that's actually pleasing you and what you want to get out of that. And I've been very fortunate that she's allowed me to do that, at the extent of having a remote distance relationship. And, you know, at times that's really hard. We have a routine that I speak to her first thing in the morning. There's 4 hours time difference, so I'm 4 hours behind the UK time. So when I speak to her at 6 o'clock in the morning, Nova Scotia time, it's 10 o'clock in the UK. She might be in a meeting. And of course, 6 p.m. in the evening for me, she's going to bed.
Is there a day that you don't? What would happen if you didn't phone you at that time in the morning? Would you think someone was up, or is it that clockwork?
No, well, with the Wi-Fi in Nova Scotia, it's quite challenging. But there might be, you send a message.
Yeah.
You know, so we
there's
talk,
some kind of contact.
We will talk each day. You know, it might be, Sam said, I'm in meetings all day. Okay, well, I'll catch you later. So at least one point in the day, we'll have a chat and a discussion, be it it's just, you know, on a phone. But I look at it, it's not forever. It's not like, oh, for the next 20 years, this is what it's going to look like. There'll come a point where I've ticked all these boxes.
Really?
You know, where
I think you'll add more boxes.
Well, I do like building boxes. It's quite a nice idea. And then, of course, then and I'm very fortunate and very privileged to have the opportunity to come on this podcast. And people reach out to me and I say, "Oh, do you fancy coming to here?" And I'm thinking,
yes,
I quite like that.
How can I fit that in?
Yeah.
Do you know when we go on holiday, honey? Could we go there? No.
Well, as soon as I'm saying yes, I'm thinking, how do I have this discussion with Sam and saying, we're going to Zimbabwe, or we're going to go somewhere, China, or something.
Yeah.
And I go, one golf course. You can go to one golf course. But I think the beauty of this industry is that, and it's the same for you and Jen, there's such a merge between what we do as a job and our families. Our families are ingrained into really what we do. And, you know, I look at it, I don't really have many friends outside of greenkeeping, because I have so many friends in
some of the best friends I've made have been in greenkeeping. I think I've always been very honest about that.
And there's you know, there's very little boundaries. The boundaries are very blurred, because I mean, we've been on trips where we've stayed with our friends that are in the industry. So you know, let's say for our relationship, we have so many shared friends and friends of ourselves, and let's say it's fueled my ambition to, I want to see, I want to experience, I want to understand that. And, you know, having Sam as a partner, a wife, my best friend, support me has allowed me to be successful for me.
So what a lot of people listening to this will probably be asking the question, thinking, so why does Sam not move across? And I think I know the answer to this, because it's probably the same part of the same reason why I wanted to move further north, and it's a family thing as well, isn't it? You really?
Yeah. I mean, when the board contract came to an end and we were coming back to the UK, and Lee was like, I want to be overseas, and I said, well, I think I've, you know, I mean, in all honesty, when Lee and I got married, we were married 18 months before we lived together. So before I moved up to Scotland, and I had to negotiate a way to be able to carry on working for BIGGA, but do that from Scotland. And I essentially took a step back in my career to do that, because I was managing the team. I was working out of the office every day, and we split my job, and I took on a part that could be done working remotely, which was continue to learn an FTMI and ICL scholarship. And I was running with that and doing all of that. So which made the move down to RAC easier to do, because I was still in the UK. When the France job came along, that was a different discussion, and you know, Jim Croxton supported me in that, supported us in that, and
Jim's been great through the whole thing.
Yeah, enabled it to happen. But when we were coming back to the UK, I said, I think I'm done. I want a bit of an opportunity to, 2 things. I want to be near my parents.
Yeah, same here.
And I want to have a go to see what else I can actually do within my job, because I loved everything that I was doing, but I needed a bit more out of it, and for myself really, and that was when the COO role came along, and I kind of said to Jim, I need a bit more, and the COO role was what came out of that conversation. So when this opportunity came along, this new opportunity, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to be traveling a lot more. So, but my parents were the ones that said, we've brought you up to not to look after us. We brought you up to go and conquer the world, basically, and they've done that with all of us. And so that was the thing. And that was kind of the driver. They said, we love it that you're here and that we see you all the time, but we would love it even more if you go off and you achieve your full potential that we know you've got. So that was kind of one of the drivers for it. But I think coming back to the whole thing of how we make our relationship work, I think last year we did 10 weeks, didn't we? 10 weeks without seeing each other leading up to Christmas break that'd be 2022. And that was too much. And we can tell when we get to the point where we've spent too much time apart, because the telephone calls become very... they become much shorter, don't they? And it's like, well, I've got nothing else to tell you. That's it. I've not done anything else today. And
does this make the heart grow fonder, or does that just a fable?
Well, the thing is that when you break down the communication, it's the casual chats that but if you're not together, there's not the casual things that I just had an idea, or I've just seen somewhere, or actually let's go and have a drink. Oh, there's a new restaurant open, or let's go and have a drink.
Yeah.
And that's where we recognise actually we need to reconnect. So there's a part of being apart and its limitations, and there are times, like all relationships, that you have points where you have disagreements. For us, that gets really hard, because it can only be a conversation via phone. You can't turn around and say, oh, come here, I'll give you a cuddle, or I'm sorry, or whatever. But that's the baggage that comes with the luxury that we have at these job opportunities. And I think it's fair to say a lot of people see what we do and say, oh my God, Bledge, fantastic job. And, the opportunities you got, Sam, they see the icing on the cake. They don't actually really see some of the sacrifices that you have. And, for what I want to do, and for what Sam's going to have to do, it's a very complicated sacrifice. And at times when it's like, well, actually, we need to spend some time together because, at the bottom of it, we're husband and wife, and we have a relationship. We just have this illicit partner called greenkeeping. Keeps getting in
the way
of this relationship. So it's tough. But we've now worked out, when we're trying to figure when we're going to see each other next, is don't go to 10 weeks. That's too extreme, because we know that we then just get irritable with each other.
You've been out quite a few times in Nova Scotia, haven't you?
Yeah. I've over last year I was out there for 6 weeks, so I did 3 2-week trips out there, and I was working. So essentially, instead of working from our house in Harrogate, I was working from Lee's place in Nova Scotia,
which needs the internet upgraded, does it?
Yeah, absolutely.
3G.
Yeah,
is it?
It's wild. So
we don't know how lucky we are here.
No, you've no idea. Yeah. But it's, that in itself brings challenges, because you're working on a 4-hour time difference, and, I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning so that I can be online with, working at the same time as everybody in the UK.
People who are bright as buttons at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think, what a lot of people don't really realise is that when Lee and I got together, he was living in Scotland, I was living in Harrogate. So we've always had a long distance relationship. Mm-hmm. That's the foundation of our relationship was built on the fact that we actually didn't live anywhere near each other. We were 5 hours drive apart.
Maybe that's what makes it work.
Well, and I think because we didn't really know any different to that it doesn't seem as strange to us as it does to other people, that they look at it and they go, I don't know how you do that. And it's like, well, we don't really know any different. Mm-hmm. We've both had prior relationships, that were different, but we're no longer in those, and we're in this one, So it's been a ride, hasn't it? It's been
yeah, but it's been exciting.
Yeah,
and that's part of our relationship. And
well,
part of what we're about is the exploration.
Your big road trip when you were 50. The American road trip.
The American road trip that we did, that was before we were 50. The 3,500 miles in 2 weeks.
10 states.
10 states.
10 states,
yeah.
2 weeks.
So you have a lot of great time together, and you're across for Harrogate, Strutty, and then you're at GIS.
GIS at Phoenix.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll be together at those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Works a treat.
Yeah, it does. I mean, working in the same industry certainly helps, because at least you know that your paths are going to cross at some point.
Well, there's always stuff to talk about at the dinner table.
Well, the thing is, it's always interesting, because I'll be speaking to someone, like, oh, say hi to Sam for me, and it's like, yeah. Then you'll get the same. You'll be speaking to someone, and they said, they said hi. So you never feel truly isolated. You're not cast away. There's connections on a weekly basis where we're, I'll speak to Sam, and I said, I spoke to such and such today, and they said, I said hi. Oh, I remember that. And like you say, this industry is so warm with love and care for each other that it's truly unique.
Well, you have in this month's BIGGA mag on the front cover, and the story in it, if I have it somewhere.
It's a
and that's not the one, but it's the couple, the man and wife couple, who are course manager and deputy. Sammy, who's that? Do you know?
Yeah, it's I can't recall their names. Yeah, they're the cover story of Greenkeeper International, January Greenkeeper International.
I think it's in the house.
And yeah, it's interesting, how they work their relationship as well. And when you do work in the same industry, and you are in each other's pockets a lot of the time, there's one of the comments was, you learn to say yes dear.
I've seen that
during the day. And there are times when you do that, you just go yeah, okay, but you do get to the point where you have to separate work and home life as well, and I'm sure that people think that that's all we ever talk about is what's going on in the industry, and and we talk about greenkeeping every second of the day. We don't. We talk about how we're paying the bills and the mortgage, and where we're going on holiday, and what we need at the supermarket and what we're having for tea. Just like everybody else does.
Or when are we going to see each other?
Or when we're going to see each other again? Yeah.
Or whose turn it's to wash a car? There's a complaint about
it's always his turn to wash the car. Oh.
That's brilliant. It's really interesting. I find it interesting. I'm pretty sure everyone else will as well. There's not many couples in greenkeeping. I think myself and Jennifer now are.
Yes, I think we need to turn the tables and have you and Mrs. Bledge on here.
I think she needs to come on and talk about something else.
I think she needs to be talking.
She needs to come on and talk about our project, definitely, which we're talking about First Green. At some point, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and yourself as well, because you pair on it together. So
yeah,
that's really cool. But let's move on finally to Tile. Let's talk about you, Strutter. You went on a really interesting trip recently.
Yes, I went down to help Director of Agronomy Damon DiGiorgio. That's right. I always get his name. I can't pronounce it properly, down at Cabot St Lucia, ready for the opening in early December. And I think on a couple of fronts. It's a fantastic opportunity working within Cabot to go and help open and support our fellow superintendents for opening, because you know yourself, it's like hands to the pump. There's so many jobs to be done, and you have the press turn up, and everything has to be right.
So wait, just before we crack on, St Lucia, for the people who don't exactly know where that is.
It's in the Caribbean island.
Yep.
So it's that long line of Barbados, Bahamas.
So tropical country, high 30s, humid
and
windy,
white beaches. Quite, I would say, in some respects, quite a contrast between the rich and the poor. And tourism plays a very important part to the island.
I'm pretty sure mum and dad went to the St Lucia Jazz Festival.
That's a bit fancy.
That's the kind of thing they would do. If they listen to this, I'd like to know if that was the case, or I'm just dreaming it. I'm pretty sure they did.
It's truly a beautiful country, and I would say the people. I got to meet quite a few of the St Lucian staff, and just what lovely people they really are. And I think this, I have the luxury or the opportunity. When I started at Cabot, I got to know Damon and Brad Allen, who's at Cabot Revelstoke, and we've really been a great support for each other. And I've known Damon for about 18 months, and when I said to him right from the beginning, I said, well, when you come to opening, let me know. I'll come down for a week, and I'll just be a pair of hands. I said, I'm not interested in riding around in carts or playing golf. I just want to support you as much as you support me, on our daily lives managing golf courses. So he said, yeah. And then when it came to it, went down there for a week and got to meet Damon face to face, and the beautiful Pinky, his dog, which is legendary.
Isn't she a Yorkshire Terrier?
Little Yorkshire Terrier, and she's just such a beautiful.
I don't think I've seen
dog.
A golf course dog that's been a Yorkshire Terrier.
Yeah,
it's usually labs, sheepdogs, Springer Spaniels.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous little thing.
Pinky's a class of her own. But just to see the site, and I mean, it is truly a magnificent site. But I think it's just nice to generally help someone else, and that person's connected with the business, and just to really support back. But for me, I'm just being greedy. I've never worked with warm season grasses, and the opportunity.
Paspalum, is it?
Paspalum.
Wall to wall.
Seashore Paspalum. And to actually see the site and learn, and their setup and the team dynamics.
How many team?
There was quite a few. I think there was. I think when they finish, they're going to be about 60 head count.
Jeez.
That's 18 holes, but probably 30 to 40 of that will be for landscaping.
Right. Okay.
So
around the houses.
Yeah. And the reason why is that a lot of it is handwork. You can't get machines just because of topography. But it's just a great opportunity to see the machinery set up. To I have my own ideas, and you share stuff, and like we all do, it's this evolution of support and how we can make things better. But you make these relationships stronger. Mm-hmm. So it was a great time, and our opening was very successful.
Who opened it?
We had Bill and Ben Crenshaw,
the architects.
Yes, and then you got obviously Ben Cowan-Dewar. And
is that the owner of Cabot?
He's our CEO, chairman of Cabot, and obviously, importantly, all the investors and the people that see this vision and go, I want to be a part of this. And I think that's what's quite important about any business, is that having that support. And I mean, Ben is truly an inspirational individual that has this vision and passion for golf, and he can see those subtleties that we might just gloss over, and he can just see that detail, and he just brings that out, and that's a phenomenal opportunity just to see that and experience that.
I think it's a shame Bledge's not here, because with him being such an architecture nut, I mean, I actually shared him that video the other night, and I think he was really blown away by it. So there's a video on YouTube, which we'll put a link in the bio of this podcast, of the holes 1 to 18 flyovers of St Lucia, Cabot St Lucia, and it is outrageous. I mean, there's some cavernous valley holes. there's a hole that I said to you this morning. It looked like it would be out of place at Cypress Point.
Yeah.
Where you're playing across a sandy beach with rocks and then the beautiful bunkers in the face, and it just looks unbelievable. And is it? I mean, it's obviously hoping. Well, it's probably goes without saying it's going to be a top 100 golf course. There's so many of these courses that are springing up that just pushing everyone else out. Not that I'm totally bothered about that. I mean, these things are all subjective. And up to a lot of
I think there's one step to actually go back, and you'll see photographs and you'll see the video and the drone footage taken of the site, and there's a lot of land movement. You being at G West with me is that you see so much of that topography, and I know Damon and his team went through hell with washouts, tropical storms. Again,
you can see a lot of the scar in the videos.
Now, people see this like, oh, what a cool job! Oh, that's awesome. It's like, there's times Damon was saying to me, he said, I've been getting close to tears because I'm seeing the weather forecast and I've got more rain coming in and it's going to get washouts. So it's like, it's an emotional roller coaster doing these sort of construction and builds. But like say, people see the finished article and not realise.
Well, they started building it during COVID, didn't they? Or before COVID, so there was obviously a big nightmare getting materials in and stuff.
The site's not necessarily original in the respect that there was a previous golf course or a started construction beforehand, but Core and Crenshaw changed the routing to configure the layout that they felt gave the best viewpoints. And I think it goes without saying, it's just... It's truly stunning, and I'm not trying to be biased because I work for Cabot. It's a truly stunning property, both visually, it's very attractive, very easy on the eye, but the characteristics and the routing of how you play the course, every hole is just, it gives you something, and I think it's like a very interesting story. It's a great start, really interesting content, and the finish is just like, hey, I'm really glad I played this course because it's just.
I can't wait to get to the next hole. I'd always had that feeling the first time I played Kings Barnes and going back. I always couldn't wait to get to the next hole. I've never played a Core Crenshaw course. It's on my bucket list. I'd love to see them build one in Britain. I know obviously with Cool, which is a possibility. I don't know what's happening up there, but I mean, if that doesn't go ahead, it would be amazing to see some of their work somewhere else. The two of the best architects on the planet.
Well, the thing is, the thing that I really like about their approach is they want to make sure it's connected to natural as much as possible. So they'll do everything they can to make sure it fits into the landscape. It's rugged. There was lots of finishes that they want to keep it authentic, and how the property fits into the land is, I think, one of their key specialities.
Ben Crenshaw was such a great putter that does he have the majority of influence in these putting greens, or is it just like 50-50, or do you know anything about
that? Because I've never worked with Bill and Ben, I can't speak on their behalf of how they do it. All I can comment how Gil Hans at Laborde, he really liked finishing off the greens. Then if you think about it, quite often they have a vision in their head and how it's all meant to be played out, and the only way you could do it is do it yourself.
Yes,
and Gil, any opportunity, well, can we stop the talking and can I jump on the dozer or can I jump on the Sand Pro?
Because, he's well known for actually physically getting in the machines.
He wants to. It's like, I need to get this out of my head, and the only way to do it is actually jump on the machine and actually start creating it. And being a growing superintendent, that is amazing to watch because it's like an artist. It's what are you trying to create? And then when he would finish it, you would say, so how does this work? And he would sort of say, like, well, the approach feeds into this way. This is how I want the hole to play. And I guess that's an opportunity of listening and being a part of someone's talent to roll that out. But I know Bill and Ben are actively, it's not just, here's the drawing and I walk away. They're very much part and parcel of that, right up to the point that the seed goes in the ground. And it has been known times when, you get the grass growing and they're going,
I don't like it. It used to be
it's not
strict.
right.
Yeah.
It's not right. And credit to them. It's like we need to go back and change that because it's not looking right. And that might be the backdrop, or it's not actually. We're not creating the wow factor that we're trying to do.
It's like, well, it's very important that the architect spends a lot of time there. I mean, we had Paul Kimber every day at GWS, and they never left site. Always, the greens were to his exact liking or specification or playability by the time they were signed off and seeded, and we never had to really return to any of them, did we?
No, but if you think about it, the whole debate about the changes and influence in the top 100 is because so many more architects are saying it has to be closer and closer to perfection. And because they're getting so good at it, it's making the less perfect courses slip out of the top 100. And it's how true can you get to a design? How does it fit into the site? How much of the wow factor? How much of the that's a bucket list. I want to be a part of that.
There's still a lot of golf courses being constructed. I don't know if I sent you that list the other day.
You did, and I was
mean,
really
geez.
surprised. There must have been like 100 golf courses.
Yeah, I would say, and a lot in Britain actually that I had no idea about.
That's right. My wife's looking a bit worried about.
Ah,
Where are you going now?
Where's he going now?
there's none.
No,
There's none in Yorkshire, I'm afraid.
We need to get one in Yorkshire.
Up in hills.
No.
But to be just on the outskirts of Harrogate, that would
Moors.
be quite handy.
Yes, aye.
And I think that's why, for me, working with Cabot, being on this journey of, it's like the Holy Grail. You're trying to find, create, maintain this vision where people are going, I want to taste it, I want to feel it, I want to experience it. And that's a very, very unique opportunity, which, let's say, as we said earlier on, comes at a cost.
It's amazing that you get that opportunity to go down to St Lucia, and I know you're going a little Scottish road trip, aren't you, with your with Jason?
Jason Haynes, yes. So last year I was very fortunate. I had Jason Zayable and Rob Monroe, who is my superintendent on the Cliffs course at Cabot Cape Breton. And this year I've got Jason Haynes, who's been with us in nearly a year, just for him to experience and understand, what we produce in Nova Scotia is phenomenal, but it is based on the home of golf. And you've got to come to the original to see it, breathe it, experience it. Look at links golf courses. So we
get your own ideas and then implement them back home.
Well, this is it. We have to put like a Canadian slant on it. You've got to see the original. So I'm taking Jason Haynes. We're going up to Castle Stewart up in Inverness. Then we're going to go up to Brora. We're going to Ski Boat, which is my first love. I just love that place. Royal Dornoch. Going to go to Croon Bay, Trump Aberdeen, the old course, and then the castle course at St Andrews, and then we'll be and then lastly Taymouth to see Stevie Chapel. So there's a strong flavour of Scotland, resort courses, membership golf courses. It's all based about fescue. It's all about growing turf next to the ocean. For Jason to have an understanding, so when he's maintaining the links course in Nova Scotia, people come to us for whatever reason, don't fly to Scotland, but they come to us. They want to feel that Scottish experience, and you can't give that Scottish experience if you've never experienced it yourself.
I think there's a whole other podcast in how you go about putting together a trip like this and how it comes out of the networking that you do as you move in through your career, and how you get to know people, and how you can just make a call and go to Royal Dornoch, and in 5 days you can visit however many golf courses you're visiting. It's that comes out of the work that you've put in.
Super beneficial
in your career to network with people, and to get your reputation out there, that when you get a call, fine, come on in.
And always the key is always looking after people when they want to come visit your place, whether it's a walk or a game, because you never know when you want to put a trip like this together, so you can go do some fact finding, and you want to gain access to these places. So it's great that you've got such a great network of guys up there you can go and do that with.
Well, it is. But half of it is, I mean, when I done my trip through the US, I'd done 23 golf courses in 27 days. There was a lot of superintendents I never met.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like anything.
They're super forthcoming.
Yeah, but it's like reach out and just say, hey, I'd love to come and look at the golf course. Personally, when I do these tours, I don't play golf. I want to see the architecture. I want to see turf maintenance. I want to meet the team. I want to see the equipment. I want to see the maintenance facility. I want to see the good, bad, and the ugly. And part of the beauty of this industry is I've never yet had anyone say, no, you can't come.
No, same here. We had Carson from Calgary Golf Club in Canada visit us last week, and he came and played with my first assistant, Chris. Fantastic guy, really great. So I do these trips. Sean and I have done quite a few. Sean from Buckdale, we've done Norfolk, we've done Merseyside, hence this reason how this kind of came about. But yeah, I think it's really important to go and visit other people's courses and pick stuff up. I mean, you and I went a course walk this morning to see the mess I'm making in Royal Liverpool.
Not really.
The mess God's making with his constant flurry of rain. But it's super. Can I always keep looking at each other's courses?
But the thing is that we have this so often where we go, well, how do you know all these people? Look, let's break this down to a very basic stage. Come to BTME, go to Weatherspoons.
Yes. Yeah.
There'll be 500 greenkeepers. You'll be rubbing shoulders with Sandy Reed from St Andrews. You'll be, talking to Steve Lloyd from the Worcestershire. They'll bump into, hi Bledge, I listen to your podcast. This is how you grow this network. It's a basic, the industry and society is changing where they're struggling to have the confidence to come up and speak to someone. This barrier is invisible. If your success is shaking off these barriers and just saying, hi, Mr. Bledge, my name's Lee Strutt. Nice to meet you. I just wanted to come and say hi. I listened to your podcast, and knowing you, Bledge. Oh, how you doing? Do you want to come visit? And by the way, I'm standing next to John McLaughlin. He's at Wallasey. Oh, let me meet you. Let me introduce. And this is how your network just explodes with connections. But you've got to make that first part to be in that environment.
I think it's never been afraid to just walk up to somebody, isn't it? What's the worst that's going to happen? They're
Alcohol
say,
usually
really
does
sorry.
help as well, doesn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that they come up and call you Mr. Bledge now, though.
Oh, please don't. Please don't.
Jamie Bledge.
Oh, Jamie. Oh, God. We discussed that last night. Jamie. Jesus. But that's great conversation. Really enjoyed that. I feel that I've Jeremy Kyled you into a new level in your relationship.
Our first marriage counselling session.
That's it, yeah.
Don't give up the day job, Bledge. But, yeah, thanks very much for joining us. And if anyone wants to say hello to Lee and Sami and wish Sami all the best in our new ventures, say hello to her at Harrogate. And I'm sure Strutty would be happy to talk about all his ventures in Canada. And you're always looking for staff as well over there, Strutty, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Always looking for people that want that opportunity, and let's say they don't have to follow the extreme path that I've had. And actually, as a bit of a side note, it's funny how people that you meet. So when I done my US tour, I met the assistant at Marion who took me around, Nate. I can't remember his last name. We got on really well. Subsequently to that, after about a year, 18 months, his partner was relocating to London, and he reached out to me and said, could you help me find another position? I don't necessarily want to go in golf. And I said, well, have you thought about doing tennis? Put me in contact with Neil Stubley, and he had a 9-month working opportunity at Wimbledon Lawn and Tennis. And it just shows you just don't know who you meet, how someone helps you or you help them. And that's the beauty of this. And part of this podcast, which I think is phenomenal, and being an avid listener out in Nova Scotia, it's it brings the opportunity for people to be together.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's a great cross pollination between our sides of the industry. I mean, like Sammy's having a coughing fit in the corner of the
Attention seeking.
Yeah, but I was actually going to turn to Sammy, but she looks like she's dying. But the Bernhard Academy pilot we did, I sat beside Paul from Arsenal, and since then Paul invited us down to Arsenal. Jenny will be sick of it. Jenny will turn off the podcast the second she hears this story again, because she's absolutely tired of it, because I was so excited about it. But I got to sit in the dugout at Arsenal during the Wolves game with Paul, and at half time, before the pitch, forked the pitch, divoted it. Probably the most amazing experience of my life, and I've only got that through the fact that I was invited to that Bernard's pilot.
Yeah.
And Paul is the nicest guy on the planet, and what an experience to go and do that. I mean, I said to Paul when Saka scored, I said, can I repair his knee slide? Because they slide into the corner. Yeah. And I was literally sitting in the next seat beside the Wolves manager. It was me, the stairs, which is a metre, and him. I watched him do all his subs, watch all the replays. I was in the dugout. I mean, that is the most amazing experience you could ever get, and only get that through this industry and speaking to people and getting contacts.
But also, it's just saying, yes, when someone gives you an opportunity.
Oh, it's down there like a rat up a drain pipe.
Yeah, don't say no. Just say,
I'll put an Arsenal jacket on. Fine, I'll go and watch Liverpool, but I'll put an Arsenal jacket on. No problem.
You see, and this is where the greenkeepers' wives just allow you to do all of that.
Yes.
You're very lucky.
She doesn't allow me to tell the story, though, Sammy.
Well, no, that's because she's heard it 17,000 times already.
I'm quite chuffed with it, though. So, so we'll wrap that up now, but thanks very much for coming on, and as I say, everyone say hello to us all at Harrogate, but more importantly, wish Sammy the best for her new venture, and we'll get you back on.
You will.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.